Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey traders, checking in on the broader markets. A couple things to note. This Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, we have the FOMC. This Friday is quadruple witching, and SPY will have its dividend distribution. If you don't know what either of those two events are, Google is your best friend. I find clarity on the futures charts on the 12-hour time frame in the short term to see the answer to the question, is this our temporary bottom and can the bulls bounce from here, or are we going to see further weekly consolidation? We have our low of the dump, our high of the bounce, which was a double top, higher low on Friday, and if we see weakness overnight tonight, it'll be a 12-hour lower high being set. We are currently still in an hourly uptrend at this moment. If we lose the hourly uptrend overnight, the odds that our 12-hour lower high is being set will increase significantly. If that is what takes place, it will likely mean that the FOMC Wednesday is probably going to determine our short-term direction. So currently a tightening range. Could we see a bull break into tomorrow? Yes, it's possible. Bulls had some momentum this morning. We saw tech sector pull back a little bit more significantly than the other sectors. But to start the morning, all of our major sectors were at the high of the day and pushing higher at the same time. Just like we watched for that on the downside, we watched for that on the upside as well. And that stood out as far as strength goes this morning. So potential for a 12-hour tightening range depending on what the overnight session does. If we look at the Nasdaq futures, we can see that it's a bit weaker, which shows us that we had a bit more weakness today in the tech sector. Just looking at percentages, tech sector closed 1.75, so it closed higher than our other sectors, just a little bit further off of its high of the day. So it ran stronger to start, pulled back a little bit more midday, but overall, bulls chalking up today as a solid victory and a convincing, strong way to start the week. IWM, so daily time frame, key resistance is the top of the bounce for everybody, 153.88. And if we reject from that level, we'll have a 4-hour inverse head and shoulders to be watching, where this would be our left shoulder, this is the head. If we can't break 153.88, we look for a 4-hour higher low compared to 147.68. Notable solid bull day today, and the financial sector and the healthcare sector certainly helping that. And we're looking for a weekly higher low to be set on this consolidation. And at the moment, the bulls are currently holding weekly 12-period exponential support. QQQ, you can see we're not close to breaking that daily top of the bounce, 282.20. We are currently over 2% away from that resistance level. So again, we're watching for the potential of whether or not that resistance level can break, but bulls still have more proving to do. And if we do see that lower high set in the futures overnight, it could just be another daily lower high compared to 282.20. We're in a standpoint right now where we've been trading sideways on that futures chart for the last few days, and there are a handful of names that are standing out clearly stronger and a handful of names that are standing out clearly weaker. An example of a stronger name would be a name like Tesla. And how you can identify that, you look at this daily time frame and you look at Tesla, and it's a big difference. We've been bouncing with a higher low every day the last 4 days on Tesla. And you can also look at percentages. At this point, we have bounced 25% plus from the low of the pullback. You can also look at fib retracements and see that we're approaching the 50% retracement level if we're not already there at this point. There's many different ways to gauge who's stronger and who's weaker. And that's very important to do. That's a significant aspect of my trading style. And today I was short Netflix because Netflix was showing us relative weakness to the entire rest of the tech sector. And I could say to myself, okay, if Netflix is struggling right now with everybody starting the morning really strong, what happens if we see even 15-minute consolidation in the tech sector? Netflix bears are going to drive that price down through our low of yesterday or low of Friday support. So recognizing, knowing the setup of the broader market, and then recognizing the individual names that are stronger or weaker can give us some good insight. So I would call QQQ a bit weaker than the broader market right now. XLV, you can see we came close to breaking the high of that initial bounce, 106.67, and it's a double top by 1 penny. But just the fact that we got to that resistance level would have been as if QQQ was up in the 282s today. So again, it's a notable difference, and the bulls are holding on better. We have the low of the pullback, high of the bounce, higher low, and now a double top. Key resistance test. Financial sector, XLF, broke the high of the bounce from last week. So that is notable. Weekly, trying to set a higher low compared to 24.23, and we have done so now at 24.49. The weekly uptrend is the most important thing for me on XLF because the daily uptrend, well, we're not in a daily uptrend, but the daily chart is choppy and unclear for me. So I am watching the weekly time frame for that clarity. Biotech sector, huge green day today thanks to some news. GILD buying out, I forget the company off the top of my head, but that buyout led to a rally in the biotech sector. Daily trend change confirmed. It has a very clear bullish lean compared to the S&P 500, where any strength from here, it's positioned very well, and any weakness in the broader market, it's positioned very well as well. I would say that SPY could drop 2% tomorrow, and XBI would still be looking for a daily higher low compared to 103.20. Higher low and higher high for the first time since our top at 121, since our bearish reaction to the Trump executive order lowering drug prices. The momentum shift is on, and now the question is, how much follow-through can the bulls get while maintaining the daily uptrend? 112.35 resistance with anything above 103.20 as a daily higher low. SMH, still tight, low of the pullback, high of the bounce, higher low, unable to break resistance at this point. So, in the middle of the road. And just from the sectors we just looked at, it is clear that the biotech sector is a stronger sector, healthcare is stronger, and the tech sector is weaker. And I'm referring again just to the last 5-6 days on this little bounce attempt. The VIX still pulling back. It stood out to me this morning that at the height of all of our sectors strong at the high of the day in the morning, the volatility sector was going up as well. And that was back here this morning. Where is this morning? Somewhere in here. We were going up at the same time as everybody else. Obviously no follow through. 15-minute tightening range. Low of the day, high of the bounce, higher low, double top, higher low. So a 15-minute equilibrium to end the day. If that breaks bullish, we'll be looking for a daily higher low to be set, and we'll then be scouting a daily lower high to be the result of that bounce. It's worth watching for a bullish entry in the volatility index. Just be aware that generally we can use the inverse correlation to the broader market when wondering what the volatility sector is doing or is going to do. But over the last month, right here, right here, right here, and a tiny bit today, not enough to warrant a purple circle, but twice now, we have seen that inverse, generally inverse correlation not there. So again, there's nothing saying that the volatility sector has to go up if the market is going down or vice versa. That's just the relationship that people get comfortable with because it's that way 90-95% of the time. But since this move, it has been less so. The dollar has failed to break the daily, or failed to change the daily trend. In my opinion, that's why we had a strong day today in crypto, metals, and stocks. You know the relationship, hopefully at this point. We know that the biggest factor for me this week, can the bulls confirm a dollar daily trend change? If the answer is yes, that's a red flag for the asset bulls. If the answer is no, and we drop down and break 92.70, it's a great sign for stock, gold, metals, crypto bulls. It would be a failure to change the daily trend. It would be a potential weekly bear flag if we fail to break 93.66, and if we drop down and break 92.70 support. Gold. Daily higher low very quickly set at 1937. Now the bulls need to break 1967 for resistance level number 1 and 1993 for the second level. Want to see a volume spike and multiple levels breaking for it to be the convincing follow-through move. If we get a break before the FOMC, we have to be aware that the FOMC reaction could entirely erase that move. So best case scenario would be a bull break because I have a GLD swing position. and then a bull reaction to the FOMC the next day to get that follow through. And again, my stop is if gold breaks 1900. Silver. So silver daily higher low is set at 26.57. Bulls have to break 27.49 and 28.90. Miners with a solid green day today. Higher low is set 40.91. Bulls need to break 42.89 and 43.13 to get this daily bull break going. Oil still not doing much, sideways, range bound. The 4-hour time frame leveling out a little bit. Bulls need to see a convincing 4-hour trend change by getting over 37.68 and 37.82. Change the 4-hour trend. We would then zoom out and look for a daily lower high to be the result of that bounce. Keep an eye on oil to get some volatility tomorrow. Can't get a whole lot tighter than we are right now. Natural gas. Trying a daily bounce. We know anything under 2532 is just a daily lower high. If I'm looking for a bullish entry and I want to be patient, I'm waiting for a daily bounce. I'm hoping it's significant enough to be anticipating a daily higher low. I enter on the daily higher low. I use the previous low of consolidation as my stop. The bulls then have to change the daily trend back in their favor to set the weekly higher low. But for now, daily consolidation still underway. So 12-hour time frame for the S&P 500 futures chart overnight tonight is going to be important. It's either a lower high or we're going to head up and test resistance tomorrow. If the lower high is set tomorrow, could be a pretty non-eventful day as we wait for the FOMC. Pretty solid day trading today. Again, as I said, I took that Netflix short and I was watching for it first thing in the morning, and I made an initial attempt on a short entry, probably right around the second candle. We then dropped down and we saw QQQ hit a new low of the day with no follow through. And we saw Netflix hit a new low of the day with no follow through. As soon as that happened and I saw QQQ V-shape back towards the high of the day, I exited half of my position and then stopped out the second half, pretty much break even, maybe a tiny loss. From there, patiently waited, saw this 5-minute bear flag, and it was this one. And I remember it was the same thing, saying, okay, we pulled back significantly. If we get hourly consolidation on QQQ, we're going to look for Netflix to get a new low of the day and test the low of Friday. And we broke both of those support levels, exited right here when it started to be the opposite. Right here, Netflix was holding up better than QQQ, and that was my signal to exit. My signal for a bearish entry was it was weaker than all the tech names on my screen, and my reason for exiting was the exact opposite. From there, I also traded DKNG, big bullish news with a partnership with ESPN, and I was just scalping little bull flips, and I do have a small swing position into tomorrow because we closed on a massive bull day, massive bull volume, and we're at all-time highs. So any little strength in the futures market is setting up for DKNG and PENN in the same sector to see a gap up open in blue sky breakout. So I have a little bit of exposure in both of these names overnight tonight. And if we don't get a gap up open, and if we fail to break the high of today first thing tomorrow, I will be very quick to bail on those positions. But I have made a lot of money in my career swing trading strong closes and blue sky breakout. And I like that probability for that trade. Hope you all had a good day out there. And keep an eye on the futures 12-hour time frame. We'll check back in tomorrow and see if we get a break. If not, FOMC Wednesday 2 p.m. will be the next major event we look towards. Do good things. Have a good day. This fig's pushing 8 feet tall, about a year since it's been in the ground now. Got my first figs from the ones in front of the house. And it's clear that the plants are loving this time of year for putting on some significant growth. Some more weeds. The greenhouse is ready for some fall crops. I'll do a bunch of greens in here and some radishes. And it's still a little bit too hot in the daytime, but another week or two and I will plant some seeds. So it's not edible. There's a bunch of birds and other varmint that eat it, but one thing that pokeberry is good for, dyeing your skin. The hard part's knowing when to stop.